Hi guys, this is gsndom.com and I'm here with the Huawei Honor 5X, the follow-up to the excellent mid-ranger Huawei Honor 4X from last year. And this product was launched in November 2015, and this time its case is made of metal, unlike the plasticky predecessor. So this handset is priced at only $200 on Amazon, which is quite a deal, and people seem to love it at CES, where it was showcased for international unveiling. So the design involves aluminum alloy for the shell, and this product measures 8.15 millimeters in thickness, and it weighs 158 grams. Meanwhile, the Honor 4X measured 8.7 millimeters in thickness and weighed 165 grams, so this is both lighter and slimmer. And other than that, it keeps the same diagonal, 5.5 inches, and also the same look of the front side, but it's quite a long phone, so you can forget about one-hand usage, so your fingers will not exactly be able to reach all the areas of the screen that you like them to. This smartphone provides quite good grip, it has a premium build, and the front side reminds me a bit of the Huawei Honor 4X and even the Huawei P8. It's a comfy phone to wield, and at the back you'll notice that there are two plastic windows, one here and one here, with a dotted texture, and those are used for the sake of improved connectivity. The buttons on the side are quite comfy to press, they're slightly ridged, they have a special texture that makes them grippier. So overall an elegant and nice design, especially for the price tag of only $200. Now as far as the hardware goes, we're dealing with a 5.5-inch IPS LCD panel, Full HD resolution this time, an upgrade from the 720p screen of the Honor 4X. We do have some quite big bezels here, as you can see, and the video player goes like this. It's quite typical, and now let's check the usual test video. So the video player includes a speed setting and also a setting that reminds me of the pop-up play feature from Samsung devices. Anyway, the screen offered good brightness, the colors are a bit on the oversaturated side, and the contrast is what I would call okay, while the viewing angles are pretty wide as well. So aside from the oversaturated colors, everything is perfect here. Pixels are of the RGB stripe variety, and let's have a look at them. So these are the pixels of the screen under the microscope, RGB stripe, and then we used the lux meter and measured 482 lux units for this display, which is quite good. It beats the predecessor, the Huawei Honor 4X, that only achieved 430 lux, and we even get to beat the Huawei Mate 8, a very solid phone, which is 423 lux. Of course, there are special settings for said screen, like those related to color temperature, which you can turn to colder or warmer using this slider here, but it's a good idea to keep it on default. We got font size to tweak, brightness, and increased readability under sunlight. So overall a solid screen, but the colors are a bit oversaturated. Now if you want to talk about the performance, we're dealing with an octa-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 616 processor inside, and with the Adreno 405 GPU. We also get 2 GB of RAM and 16 GB of storage, plus a microSD card slot, and the actual usage experience, where we got a pretty fluid interface and no lag, although this model is not exactly as fluid as the Huawei Honor 7, which we are also testing at the same time. And I have to mention that when starting an app, it takes a bit to actually fire it up, so slight lag, but nothing serious actually. The games run pretty okay, and that includes Riptide GP2, our usual benchmark game, but I'm sure you can easily run Dead Trigger 2, the latest FIFA titles, Asphalt 8 of course, and pretty much any game you throw at it, launched over the past 2 or 3 years, and of course the older ones. Okay, so we got this Full HD screen here, and we're ready to rock. The graphics look nice, there's no stutter, there's no lag, the water looks crisp, and this lighting effect is spot on. Pretty nice speed sensation, and the gaming performance checks out. So good performance, okay gaming performance, and if you're wondering about the benchmarks, we also did those. I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail, just know that we usually managed to surpass the Samsung Galaxy A7 2016 and the Lenovo Fab Plus, for example, but generally we scored below the Huawei P8 in benchmarks, so the performance was good but not exactly mind-blowing, keep that in mind. And beating the latest Galaxy A7 2016 is still no small feat, so that's something. Now as far as temperature goes, after playing the game Riptide GP2 for 15 minutes, we got to 36.3 degrees Celsius, which means there's no overheating, and that's always good. Now we're off to the audio side. As usual, it seems there are two speakers. In fact, there's only this one here. This one probably hides a microphone or other components. The player is the typical one. If you've seen a device with EMUI, you've seen them all. That's what the player looks like. And let's see what options we have here. So we enter here in this area, start the song, and let's actually play it. And now some conclusions. I would have to say that the volume is quite okay, but I've heard much louder. The bass is mid-level and there's a slight distortion at maximum volume. We did a decibel meter test and that showed a not very impressive value of 80.5 decibels. It's a bit underwhelming considering the predecessor Honor 4X had 83.9 decibels. Well, at least we beat the Sony Xperia Z5 Premium, so that's a consolation. Now as far as the headphones go, they feel very familiar. They're basically the same pair we got with the Huawei P8. They resemble the Apple EarPods. They have a pretty long body. They're made of a plastic material, and I have a big remote with volume up and volume down buttons. They're not exactly very comfy, sadly, but at least we get good isolation and pretty decent volume, and we also have FM radio. And in case you're wondering about the equalizer, we get this stock Android equalizer here, nothing fancy. Okay, time to talk about the camera, so here we go. At the back, this is a 13 megapixel shooter with f2.0 aperture and 28mm wide angle lens. And of course the flash next to it. That's the back camera, the main one, and now the front one, 5 megapixel shooter, f2.4 aperture and 22mm wide angle lens, as well as 1.4 micron pixels. The camera app starts up reasonably fast and the interface is very straightforward and very simple. These are the main capture modes that include all focus, which is a refocusing feature, slow motion, HDR, watermark, panorama, best photo and audio note, and then the settings including resolution, GPS tag, something called perfect selfie, as well as ISO, white balance and some image adjustment tools. Now the main capture modes are on the right side. We got time-lapse, video, photo, beauty and good food for people who like to take shots of their food, those so-called gourmet shots. Focus is quite fast, I was actually surprised by that. Zoom is fluid and photo capture is also pretty fast. Okay, time to go to the gallery, and we've taken quite a few images on a very sunny day. So let's get through them. It was a sunny day of April, and we registered realistic colors, good clarity, and okay details even if you zoom in, which is a nice feature to have on a $200 phone. So a regular shot, and then we zoomed into this magnolia or whatever flower it is, and still the details were great. For a $200 phone, the fact that we don't have blurry shots is certainly a compliment. And once again we're testing the zoom, regular shot, zoomed in shot with good details. Obviously it was time to test the camera close-up, and let's check out some flower close-ups because we do have those. Here we go, and they look quite nice. Excellent texture, excellent color and lighting, so nothing to object in this area. And we also took selfies, a bunch of them, and I was shocked to see how good the selfies were. I've seen last year the LG G4, it disappointed me with its selfies, but this time it's one of the few phones that actually show me my skin pores. I don't know if you can see them, but it's the first selfie where I can see my pores. Is it bad? Is it good? Well, it's detailed at least. Then we got this flower here that allows us to refocus thanks to the all focus feature. Once again a good shot. and even more close-ups of flowers, very vivid colors and very crisp. The colors are excellently rendered here. And now this is the HDR, making the image feel a bit burnt but highlighting the details. Once again, good colors and not one blurry shot. Some cherry tree or lilac. I'm not very good with flowers, maybe you can tell me in the comment section. And one of the best close-ups I've taken over the last period. However, in the shade, the colors tend to feel a bit washed out, so when you're in the sun, it's okay. When you're in the shade, just a bit washed out. Now let's have a look at the nighttime shots, because we also have those. So, of course, considering the low price of the device, we didn't have big expectations, and they were confirmed. Some of the shots are blurry, and the only ones worth mentioning are the ones with the flash that have quite good colors. And other than that, a lot of fuzzy shots, blurred shots, distorted shots and grainy ones that don't make much sense unless you tweak them a bit. So if you don't consider the flash, it's a bit of a letdown during the night. The streetlight halos are big, the image is yellowish, but the flash is actually quite good. Now we get to the video side of things. We filmed in MP4 format in Full HD at 30 frames per second and 20 megapixel bitrate. And let's see what came out of that experience. Okay, so this is one of the videos. I have to mention that while filming, I found the acoustics to be quite echoey. And the sudden exposure change does not help one bit. Stabilization is poor, there's echo, the image is burnt, shaky, but the clarity is, I would say, okay, nothing more than that. Sadly, in the distance, details are rather poor, so that's also a bit of a bummer. Once again, lack of stabilization, decent colors when they're not burned by the sun, and echoey acoustics. During the night time, let's see what happened there. We also shot video at night and it was rather disappointing. We had big streetlight halos, okay colors, and grainy and dark areas. So while the photo capture was good, you probably figured that out by now, and the selfies were very good, the video capture is underwhelming even for a $200 phone. Overall, I went back a few months ago and checked out the photo and video samples of the Huawei Honor 4X and found that the Huawei Honor 5X is 10 to 15% better than its predecessor, but it pretty much films the same way or even a bit worse than the model before. Now let's see how the web browser can handle our heat. So browser, and let's access gsndom.com. Taking a while to load. As you can see, not the fastest browser you've seen, at least fluid scrolling, and then the virtual keyboard is comfy and well spaced, and we also get swipe to play with. And speaking of browser, the benchmark results for the browser are quite poor, so nothing fancy to report here. Now in the connectivity section, I'm going to mention that this is a dual SIM phone with LTE connectivity, GPS and GLONASS, Bluetooth 4.1, Wi-Fi 802.11 BGN, and micro USB 2.0. In the dialer section, you can encounter features like speed dial, harassment filter, and there's also noise cancelling courtesy of an upper side microphone. The calling experience is okay, volume wise it's clear and the signal is good, while the Wi-Fi speeds are 22 megapixel in download and 21 in upload. Now it's time to discuss the battery life, and we're getting here a 3000 mAh battery with lithium-ion technology, and let's see what came out of our test. So we reached a time of 8 hours and 43 minutes of continuous HD video playback, which is quite good, actually very good. It means we beat the Sony Xperia Z5 and the HTC One A9. We then proceeded to the PC Mark test, where we also scored a good result, 6 hours and 52 minutes. This means we beat the Huawei Nexus 6P and the Huawei Mate S, a huge achievement for this model that once again is not exactly a huge phablet, and still it beats those with its battery. Sadly, the charging is kind of long, 3 hours and 11 minutes, too long no matter what the results are otherwise. Now in the settings area we obviously have battery saving features. They're called power saving, They include an optimization feature and 3 main power plans. We got Ultra, that only keeps the basic functionality. We got Smart, that automatically adjusts the CPU and network usage, and Normal, plus protective apps that can run even with the screen off, and some extra settings like keeping the Wi-Fi on during sleep or not. So overall, an excellent battery. I'm very happy with it, minus the charging. Now, if you want to talk about the software, it's obviously Android. It's Android 5.1.1 Lollipop with EMUI version 3.1 applied on top of it. There is no app drawer, all the apps are on the home screens. There's a flat UI in the mix, and if you pinch the screen, you can see the wallpapers, widgets, transitions, and more settings. The widgets looked quite nice. They're also minimalistic. Transitions here and more settings, including the layout, shake, auto align, and other things like that. The multitasking is typical for Emotion UI, at least for an older version. It shows 4 thumbnails per screen and involves swiping up to close the apps. The drop-down portion includes the notifications as a timeline and quick settings with pretty big icons. In the lock screen, you'll find a few shortcuts to play with. We got previous, pause, next, covers, remove, share settings, and 4 shortcuts for essential features like the torch or camera. Now it's time to have a glance at the settings. There's quite a few of them, and we get the connectivity ones, home screen style, standard or simple, display, sound, storage and battery, screen lock and passwords, location services, do not disturb, protective apps, and finally fingerprint ID. Yes, we have a fingerprint scanner, and if you go here, choose a pin, unlock screen, and we have the fingerprint already set up, and let's see just how fast we can unlock the screen. That's how we did it. So let's go again, this time by pressing this button and performing the unlock. It's very fast, and let's try it again without a problem. And you can actually use your fingerprint for more than just unlocking the device. Let's go here, and these are the features. You can touch the fingerprint sensor to go back on an action, to go back to the home screen, take a photo or video, answer call, stop an alarm, or slide up on it to show recent apps. Something like this, slide up, recent apps, so you get the gist of it. Now there are more things to show here in the settings area, and those include motion control, which means flip to mute, double touch to turn the screen on or off, and drawing symbols to activate certain apps. There is the navigation bar option here, one hand UI, so all of them typical options we've seen on other devices. Now we're in that part of the review where we talk about the apps. I counted them as usual, there's 57 of them, which means there's a bit of bloatware going on here, and we got quite a few apps. So among those worth mentioning, there is a phone manager that takes care of your storage, harassment filter, accelerator, RAM, and things like that. Then we got the usual setup of media apps, we got tools, quite a few of them, social networking apps, and games, a lot of games. And that's pretty much it. Once again, 57 apps means bloatware, at least in my book. Time for the end of the review, and this means the verdict related to the Huawei Honor 5X. On the Pro side, we got an elegant design for the price tag, we got a good display, okay performance, no lag, it runs the games okay, basically any games you want nowadays, takes good selfies, nice pictures with the main camera, and provides a great battery. Now on the cons side, the acoustics can be a bit underwhelming, the video capture, well, it's inferior to the predecessor, charging is kind of long, and finally there's bloatware on board. So overall, I have to say that this is a mid-ranger phone disguised as a premium phone on account of its metallic shell that looks very nice, and it's also very comfy. The best features for this model are the selfie camera, the battery, and the display, which makes it a bit of a teen phone, a phone for high school students, for college goers, and that's pretty much the target audience, looking for a $200 phone with good selfies and good battery. So once again, mid-rangers, which is disguised as a premium phone, takes good selfies and has excellent battery. That's the description of the Huawei Honor 5X. It's pretty much a 15% improvement on the Huawei Honor 4X and just enough to make it worth your money. This is it from gsndon.com. Bye bye.